Welcome into this week's edition of the Coaches Show. Joining me first, as always, is our women's soccer head coach, Joe Joe Tharp. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Of course, as always.
And Coach, obviously, this past week, a couple of tough luck losses. One that I think you can make an argument you felt like you let it slip away, and one where maybe they were just the better squad that night and weren't able to get a lot of shots on goal. But the first one we're going to talk about is the loss to Holmes, 2-1. This is the one where, ironically, you could say we kind of let this one slip away. It kind of feels like, at worst, maybe this one should have been a tie, 1-1, or maybe could have squeaked out a win, especially if you'd have gotten an earlier shot to go in goal as well too. But your thoughts overall on that loss against Holmes?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it right on the head. We kind of let it slip away, a couple of sloppy mistakes, gave away a PK to make it 1-1, and we actually went up 1-0 early on, gave away a PK and made it 1-1. I think that was in maybe the 70th minute, somewhere in there, and then gave up a second goal just off a defensive error on our part. So, just silly little mistakes. Unfortunately, it cost us the game. The one that I do believe we should have won because that was one of our best games we've played all year.
Yeah, and early on in this match, Maddie Logan, who scores the goal later, she has a shot, and I said it on stream. If that ball curves in the opposite direction, that's one of the world-class goals in this conference of the whole year. It would have gone top corner. No one would have been able to stop it. She struck it perfectly. Unfortunately, it just curved the wrong way. It really felt like early on your girls really had the better scoring opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. I think for the first 20 minutes of the game, we controlled that game, but we kind of came out, threw them off. We played a completely different style of play than what they expected us to play, and it really it benefited us for, like I said, the first 20, 25 minutes. We were in the front foot the first half, and then same in the second half. The first 20 minutes of the second half, it felt like it was the exact same. We had plenty of opportunities, just only put one away.
Yeah. And in the 19th minute, that's when Maddie Logan scored her goal with an assist from Evie Manders. You're up 1-0, and you really kind of played some defensive soccer, maybe some of the best defensive soccer you've played all year. It really kind of felt like Holmes was frustrated. They were taking some shots from deep that I don't think maybe they've really taken all year. They didn't look comfortable taking those shots, but they were still felt like they were trying to get anything at that point to try to find an equalizer. What's the message to the girls at halftime when you're up 1-0?
Well, when we're up 1-0, it's at the time I think they were number 2 in the country, so that's ultimately what I was telling them. They've played a really good half. We just had 45 minutes to go. It wasn't over yet. Job wasn't finished. Told them we got a little sloppy at the end of the first half, but then told them it needed to be better when we came out the second half to start back on the front foot, just like we started the beginning of the game.
And then you mentioned it, the PK in the 66th minute, a little bit of maybe a controversial call. You and I talked about it. We both kind of came to the same thing. If you're going to show a card for one, kind of feel like in that situation you got to show a card for both. Unfortunately, the card goes against us. They give the PK, that gives the tie. And then you mentioned a little defensive miscue in the 83rd minute led to the second goal, 2-1. And you still got some shots off at the end of the match. Had a couple of good looks. I know Nimue Couturier had one that the goalie got a hand on and made the stop. It felt like that one could have equalized it right there. But, talk about Olivia Conway. She gave up 2 goals in this one, but another career high in saves was 16, and she made some class saves throughout this match as well, too.
Yeah, she was phenomenal. She's been one of our saving graces all year. She's just a phenomenal keeper. It's going to be tough. Like I said, we're going into our last game this week, but it's going to be tough to replace her. So, but hopefully we got with a strong performance tonight or this week, I guess.
And then this past Friday, you go over to Jones and you lose this one 3-1. And this was the one where it felt like they were just. Maybe you chalk this one up. They were just the better team that night. We didn't get a lot of shots off, only 2, only one of those on goal. That was the one that went in. If you look at it that way, hey, we were 1 for 1 in shots on goal. Unfortunately, they had 3 of their shots on goal go in. They scored in the second minute, and at that point, you're still only down 1-0. So you played basically 43 minutes of scoreless soccer after that. What's the message to the girls knowing, hey, we're only down 1-0, one goes our way and we're right back in this?
Yeah, so ultimately at that game, we were kind of in a position we needed a tie, so we shifted our formation. Honestly, the whole first half, they were all over us, if I'm being brutally honest. They were the better team the first half. Shifted our formation because at that point we needed to go for a goal. A loss didn't benefit us anyway, so we shifted to that. Unfortunately, the formation kind of cost us a little bit. So we suffered a little bit more defensively. We did get more. We were in their half a little bit more. I didn't get too many shots, but we were in their half a little bit more with that formation, and just cost us a couple goals in the second half.
Yeah. And they scored in the 66th, their 67th minute, and then the 70th minute. And then a name that we've talked about already, Maddie Logan, again with a goal in the 81st minute, made it 3-1. felt like maybe it gave the team a little bit of life. Unfortunately, just not able to get another shot on goal after that. We discussed it before, but Maddie Logan, it feels like, she's been red hot lately. She's been one of your best goal scorers, not just here lately, but all season for you as well, too.
Yeah, she's had a really good year. She battles like mentally on the field a little bit, but I think she's overcome it a lot this year. Then I think she's learned and grown a lot this year with that aspect.
And then Liv had 5 saves of the 8 shots that she faced on goal. And now you go into your final match. It's going to be this upcoming Tuesday. You're going to face the Lady Rangers of Northwest. And for those at home, do you wonder, does it get easy? Do you have an easy one to end the year? No. Probably you can make an argument for the best team in the nation. Up until a couple of weeks ago, they were number 1 in the nation. They had not had a loss or a tie on their record in almost 2 years until Gulf Coast tied them. Obviously, we talked about Holmes beating them. So it's a tough test for you, but I feel like this team is up to that task. Maybe it makes it a little bit more difficult knowing you've got to get some kind of result to have a chance at playoffs. If you win, you're in. If you tie, you need a little bit of help, but there's still some light there as well too. But your thoughts overall heading into this match against the Lady Rangers?
Yeah. Actually, if we get a tie, that's all we need. We get into the playoffs 100%. So that's what we're pushing for today. We're pushing for a tie or win. Overall, the girls know that it's potentially some of these girls' last game to play if they in this season, anyways, in the regular season. So they're just gonna hopefully they go out there and leave it all out there, and we play the best we can. I'm hoping we get a little bit of advantage since they're traveling a little bit to us. They're playing on turf, which they're not used to, so I'm hoping that benefits us a little bit tonight. So
yeah, maybe have a little bit of weather coming in as well too, so that may play a factor as well too. But it kind of feels like the Lady Wolves may be the most dangerous team in coming into this one. Although the Lady Rangers are one of the best teams in the nation, a team that knows there's no tomorrow without some kind of result can be the most dangerous, especially in a soccer match.
Yes, 100%, and that's the mentality I've been trying to preach to them since Friday, honestly, since the beginning of last week. Is like our last few games are all top. They're top 5 in the country, top 5, top 10 in the country. So they're all going to be tough. But I think mentally we fought a lot, and then we just have to push through one more game and hopefully get a result out of this one.
Well, regardless, Coach, we'll talk to you at least one more time, no matter what, even if it's the season wrap-up or if we're talking about further into the playoffs. We also know that if we make the playoffs, we'll be on the road. Don't know where yet. We'll figure all that out once it comes out, and we'll give our folks at home all that information on social media. Again, the Lady Wolves drop a 2-1 decision against Holmes and a 3-1 decision against Jones. They will host Northwest for their final match of the regular season, also celebrating sophomore night. So a special night for all of that as well too. 6 p.m., 8 p.m. kickoffs for those, 8 p.m. for the guys. Stick with us. After the break, we're going to talk about men's soccer and football after this. Thanks for sticking with us through the break and joining me. As promised, is our men's soccer head coach, JT Coward. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Yep.
And, Coach, obviously a week where you went 1-1. You got a big win over your alma mater against Holmes, 3-0. Dropped a road match against Jones, 3-1. A match where you said against Jones you didn't feel like you played your best, but against Holmes, we'll talk about that one first. Your thoughts on that one? Took a little bit to get the scoring going, but once it did, it really kind of felt like you were able to easily win this one.
Yeah, they are very defensively set up. So, they put as many guys in the back as they could to try and stop our attack. And then luckily, they got a red card in the first half, which made it a lot easier for us, and we got that goal right before halftime, which was huge for us.
Yeah, after the red card, it really felt like Holmes, who was already defensive, went even more defensive. They really didn't get a lot going forward against your bunch, and you talked about it. That goal in the first half came with about in the 43rd minute. Justin Singleton hit one with an assist from Finley Sugg, and you had not had Finley on very often or very long. We talk about this with Suggsy a lot. It feels like every time he comes on, it's kind of that super sub, kind of gets you some instant offense, and he really paid off in that situation.
Yeah, he was great. Lots of times, I tried different guys with different people, and then Suggsy's been really good here recently, coming off the bench and give us a little spark that we need.
Yeah, and I think it was very interesting in this one. One thing I noticed, I jokingly say you're doing those hockey line changes, and you did it with this one, and it really seemed to work out for you. It really seemed like you had a five that worked really well, and then you had a second five that you were able to bring in, and they all worked really well together as well too.
Yeah.
And so you're up 1-0 at halftime. What's the message to the guys knowing, hey, 1-0, it's a razor thin margin. They still have a chance they can get back in this one. But what's the message to the guys going forward?
Yeah, the message at halftime was really just a lot of tactical stuff, kind of pointing out some stuff that they were doing and some things that we wanted to do to combat that and have a little bit more success. And what they were doing is they were just man marking our best players. So wherever they would go, they would follow them to wherever. So the message at halftime was like, look, if they're going to man mark you, Hudson, I want you to drag them all the way to the other side of the field and open up huge gaps in their defense. And they just kept playing that way in the second half and led to a couple goals for us.
And in the second half, you mentioned it, probably one of those goal scorers, one of those good players for you. Alvaro De La Torre gets you a couple of goals within 2 minutes of each other. Yep. The first one in the 78th minute, an assist from Suggsy again. That made it 2-0. And then the Johan Bedoya to Daylock connection, we've talked about it all year. It kind of felt like that connection, we've been waiting for it to come. And maybe this is the game where it finally kind of breaks through, and I think if you were watching on stream, you saw Johan really celebrate big on the assist, and Daylock got a big celebration as well too. It was good to see that connection really finally starting to hit at a time when you're heading into the postseason, and that can really pay off for you.
Yeah, you can tell those two love playing with each other. Anytime one of them scores, you can see the other one's the first one to run over and congratulate him. If we have those two on the same page and firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs, we could be a dangerous group.
And, Jamie Duran played really well in this one, played 84.5 minutes, had saved all 6 shots that he faced on goal. Adam Hood came in, played the last 5.5, didn't face a shot on goal, but played really well as well, too. Helped kind of keep that defense lined up and knowing where to go. Your thoughts on how well both the keepers played in this one?
Yeah, Jimmy was solid. He didn't have a whole lot of action back there, but his organization and his distribution was really good for us. And then, of course, Adam didn't get a whole lot of playing time, but Adam's he's such a vocal leader. Every time he comes on the field, he's always organizing everybody in front of him, and everybody on the field can hear him communicate, and I love that about him.
Yeah, and not only when he's on the field, also the times that I've been able to go with y'all, you can hear him on the sidelines encouraging guys as well too. So I think that's something as a coach you love to see. Even when he's not on the field, he's helping the team get better.
For sure.
And then you fast forward to this past Friday. We mentioned this one. You dropped this one 3-1, a game where you felt like maybe didn't play your best soccer. But your thoughts overall on this match?
Yeah, we came out a little shaky. You could tell that a couple of the boys might have been a little bit nervous. Jones, very good team. They're probably locked in to win the conference right now. But yeah, so I mean, they came out and put us under a tremendous amount of pressure. They were high pressing us every time we got the ball, forcing all types of mistakes from us, and it just wasn't a very clean game from us, and I think it hurt us a good bit. So
now, in the first half, they scored in about the 25th minute, made them 1-0. In the 35th minute, it's 2-0. But we've seen it a lot of times, and you've talked about it. A 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in soccer. What's the message to the guys knowing, hey, if we can get a couple of things to bounce our way, a couple of balls find the back of the net, we're right back in this one. If we can even find one to find the back of the net, we're still in this one.
Yeah, at halftime, both of their first half goals came from corner kicks. So I told the boys, like, look, as bad as we're playing right now, they haven't broken you down in open play. It's like both goals have come from corner kicks. So there was a little bit of a positive there, and I just told them, look, we're going to go out and give everything we got in the second half. I want high energy from everyone on the field, on the bench, and everything. We're going to go after them. Unfortunately, we were still on the losing side, but the second half was way better performance than the first half.
In the second half, it was a 1-1 half. They scored in the 87th minute. You scored in the 89th. Braxton Williams with a couple of assists from Lucas Giacomini and Johan Bedoya off a corner. You look at this one, Jamie Duran, 13 shots on goal faced. He had 10 saves, 3 goals against. That line's not terrible. Mm-hmm. Jimmy keeps you in. So he makes so many great saves for you. I'd imagine there were a couple in this one that you probably look back and go, how in the world did he do that?
Yes.
But again, I think you would say you're maybe not necessarily disappointed in the performance of your keeper.
Yeah, honestly, we probably should have been down maybe 3 or 4-0 at halftime, but Jimmy made some couple of amazing saves there to keep us back in it. to keep it close, at least give us a chance there in the second half.
And then you're going to look forward to this upcoming Tuesday, just like the Lady Wolves. You're going to celebrate sophomore night. That might look a little bit different depending on the weather. You and I have already talked about that. There's a little rain coming through on Tuesday, but you're going to host the Rangers. What do we know about that bunch? And, what are you looking forward to, especially saying, honoring these sophomores that are coming up?
Yeah, they've had a, up and down season. So I expect us to be the better team in the matchup, but as you know, in this league, no win is an easy win in this conference. So I expect them to come out and they've missed out on playoffs. So I expect them to go out with one final bang, last game of the season for them, and make it a tough match for us.
And you just mentioned it, playoffs. We know that the Wolves are in it. They're either going to be the 6th seed or the 7th seed. Destination of where they're playing to be determined based on some results that will happen across the league. We'll let everybody know once we have that on social media as well, too. But, what are you most excited about? I know it's your first year as the head coach. You've been the assistant for the last couple. You get to keep that playoff streak running, and you get at least one more game with this sophomore group that you're going to eventually have to say goodbye to. Yeah. I think that's a little bittersweet because this is a group that you recruited. They've been with you for 2 years as an assistant last year, as the head this year. But what are you most looking forward to, knowing you've got at least one more after this one with this group?
Yeah, it's a great group of sophomores. They've been the heartbeat of this team for the past 2 seasons pretty much. A lot of them got playing time as freshmen, and now they're majority of the playing time this year, sophomores. I'm looking forward to going into the playoffs and hopefully get over that first round hump that we have fallen a little bit short at the past couple of years. And hopefully we can get into the semifinals, and then who knows, and beat anyone on any given day.
We can tell people it's probably going to be Pearl River or Itawamba. Just don't know yet until everything is decided. But again, when we know, we'll let you know. Coach, we look forward to talking to you next week. We'll talk at least about 2 matches. Hopefully we got another one to talk about over that, because the Wolves get that playoff win either, I assume, on Friday or Saturday after that match happens. But again, we'll give you all that information as we can. But again, look forward to talking to you at least one more time next week. We'll wrap up the season, or at least talk about these 2 matches as well too. So thanks for joining us, and look forward to it next week. That will wrap up our men's soccer segment. Coming up, football continues to roll. They finish out South Division play with a win against East Central. Looking forward to playing against Northeast next week. We'll talk to Coach Davis and hear his thoughts on that game, plus the upcoming one after this.
When you give to the Co-Lin Foundation, your support directly benefits Co-Lin students, faculty, and staff. Whether it's by providing scholarships for students, professional development opportunities for faculty and staff, or technology and campus upgrades, we need your support. Giving to Co-Lin offers the best value for your money as a donor. With low administrative spending and overhead, we can use your donations in tangible ways that benefit students right now. Join us as we back the pack by giving today.
Welcome back in. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. And joining me for our final segment is our head football coach, as promised, as always, Micah Davis. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And Coach, obviously, Wolves celebrated homecoming last week, celebrated sophomore night, got a big win in that one, 28-3 over the Warriors. Your thoughts on how the team kind of overcame a little bit of a slow start, didn't score till late in that first quarter. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but your thoughts on the game overall first.
Yeah, we had a lot of different things going on early on. And the guys were having to adjust a little bit, including myself. Learning on the run as we go, but we did start out a little slow, but we finally got in our groove, and defense stepped up, helped us out a little bit, and then as we got going on offense, we were able to continue on play well. Got to throw the ball a little bit more this week, and ran the ball hard too. So overall, I thought we played really well on both sides of the ball, and on the kicking team as well. So I'm excited for our guys.
Yeah, this kind of felt like a week where everything kind of worked really well for you. I think if you had to say there was one negative, is maybe the penalties and the yards there. You had 14 for 155. I'd wager to bet about half of those were holding penalties. It felt like there was a abnormal amount of holding penalties called against the Wolves this week. There's one thing that I think is you want to pinpoint, you want to clean up, it's probably that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest thing. We've harped on it already. when these as games keep coming, they get bigger, that stuff, that could hurt us. So we got to definitely work on that.
And offensively, you had 25 first downs in this game, 11 passing, 14 rushing. You were 67% on third down efficiency, 8 out of 12. And very balanced in this one. I think as a coach, that's kind of where you want to be. You were 271 in the air, 253 on the ground. Just a very balanced attack, and it felt like that's how the offense needs to run.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did really well, played well, both throwing the ball, protecting, catching it, throwing it, running wise, same thing, blocking downfield. We were able to switch up some of our run schemes that helped us out as the game got going. But, overall, I thought our guys on offense played pretty good.
Yeah. And, you look at it, we talk every week about the impact players. We always start with the quarterback. Jalen Petway was 14 of 19, career highs in completions, yards, and touchdowns, 263 yards. 3 touchdowns, did have 1 interception. Ball was a little bit underthrown, was picked off on the 1-yard line. Outside of that, that was the one mistake he had. Also had some rushes, had a negative yard rush as well too. That was one he was trying to escape on. Guy got him just there at the end. But I felt like for Jalen, this was probably his best game. And Eli Vineyard came in as well too, had an 8-yard completion, a 6-yard rush. Both quarterbacks really did a good job for you.
Yeah, I mean Jalen, he definitely stepped up, did some really good things. I mean, if you take the interception away, and then we had a chance to throw a touchdown on a deep ball, he overthrew a guy a little bit, and then we had a drop. I mean, you take those 3 balls that are definitely balls that are able to be completed. I mean, he's up in the 80-90% completion, but he did really well. He completed to the threw it to the open guys, and those guys made plays for him and had a good day.
And you look at the rushing game, and for the first time in about 7 weeks, Martavis Boswell didn't break 100 yards. East Central did a really good job of keeping him in front of them, and were able to bring him down, which we've seen a lot of teams struggle with. But he still led the way, had 76 yards on 15 attempts. Desmond Ray was right behind him, 68 yards on 9 carries with a touchdown. Jaquan Bentley was right behind him, 58 yards on 11 carries, and Kendarius Porter had 47 yards on 6 carries. I tell people a lot of weeks, I don't know that there's any other JUCO running back room that goes 4 deep, and just about every week you use all 4 of them, and they come up for you big.
Yeah, and I think that's what helps our guys be fresh too. We try not to kill them. Load them up with all the rushes, and they complement one another. And we've got 2 guys that can run, 2 guys that can pound it, and we try to utilize the ways that we think they can help us be successful.
Yeah. Had 1 fumble in that one. Jaquan lost that one a little bit early, but he was able to overcome that and ran the ball well the rest of the game. Desmond Ray was actually your leading receiver in terms of receiving yards. He had a 45-yard reception on a little shuttle pass that was a beautifully drawn-up play. One very similar to what you see, a lot of Kansas City Chiefs or a lot of those teams run. Jabraxton Boone, Cameron Pittman, Trevor Fortenberry, and Jamar J. Bell all led you in receptions with 2 each. Jabraxton Boone had 37 yards. Karan Williams had a 37-yard touchdown reception. Cameron Pittman had 2 touchdown receptions for 30 yards. And those were all of your receivers there, but up and down again. You look at it and 14 completions, and there's about 10 or 12 names listed here on that stat sheet. That's one thing I think is a credit to Jalen and just how deep the receiving room is. He's able to get the ball to a bunch of guys.
Yeah, I mean, we want everybody to touch the ball as much as possible. I think they can all do a good job on the field once they get the ball in their hands, and that's what we're trying to do, spread it out and let them make a play.
And Ty Jones had a really good night kicking the ball. You mentioned it, 4 for 4 on extra points. Didn't go for a field goal in this one. Had 2 punts. One of those was down within the 20. He averaged 43.5 yards on punts, averaged 63 yards across 5 kickoffs, 2 of those for touchbacks. Just did a really good job of flipping the field when you need him to. And then on kickoffs, I thought he was very excellent for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a good job all year round, and this week he did a lot better with extra points, and we're working on that. But overall, with kickoffs and punts as well, he did a great job.
And defensively, you held them to just 11 first downs, 31% on third down, 170 yards of offense, including just 5 yards rushing. We talked about that. The quarterback for East Central had negative 53 yards on 6 carries. So a bad day for him running the ball and those kind of things. But defensive leaders on that unit, Archie Chambers had 7, Josiah Vaughn and Deshaun McGee had 5. Deshaun McGee also had an interception. Calvion Johnson also had an interception as well too. Trenton Rocker had a sack and a half. Again, we talk about it every week. These guys defensively, whenever their name and number is called, they step up and they make big plays for you.
Yeah, I mean, two of the passes they completed were the very first play, and then one on the last drive they had. And take away those two drives and they're 2 plays, and they're probably under 100 yards passing. And but they did it really well. Josiah Vaughn stepped up this week for an injured player, and he was able to come in and make some big plays on that first drive and kind of got us going. So.
And now we look at the scoring summary. East Central got out to a little bit of an early lead, had a 3-0 lead after a field goal midway through the first quarter. Also had a field goal blocked as well too. Trey Webb came in and blocked a field goal earlier in that game. You got the lead with 52 seconds left. Cameron Pittman, an 18-yard pass from Jalen Petway, and you could argue that this might have been one of the best passes that Jalen threw if it wasn't for the amazing catch by Karan. We're going to talk about in a little bit, but just a really great pass from Jalen to Cameron there.
Yeah, I mean, we'd worked on it all week, and we kind of knew what we thought we were going to get. When it came to 12 personnel, 2 tight ends out there, Q happened to fall down, but it opened up Cam, and so we were lucky to throw it, and he made a good catch, good throw, and it turned out to be a touchdown for us.
And then you really never looked back. You never relinquished the lead. It never really felt like East Central pressed you at all. Petway to Pittman again from 12 yards out for your touchdown in the second quarter with about 1 minute and 15 seconds left. East Central looked like they were going to respond with a potential touchdown there. This is when Deshaun McGee, Day stepped in front of that pass. A great interception, and wasn't able to return it, but still he stalled that momentum. You were able to run out the clock. You're up 14-3 at halftime. What's the message to the guys?
I just got to play better. I mean, thought we were stopping our own selves, and if it was a penalty or just a busted assignment, but just got to play better. Try to give ourselves a chance to get going and get some rhythm going, and just needed to make that happen.
And then in the third quarter, you scored one late there. Desmond Ray with his 2-yard run capped off the longest drive of the night, 13 plays, 65 yards. You're up 21-3, and it really feels like at this point you're just kind of cruising. You're getting guys in. They're being able to get carries and those kind of things. 21-3, it feels like we just got to find a way to get this one over.
Yeah, I mean, we had to keep playing. Keep getting guys some reps out there, and but we did, and I thought we did a good job as we continue to go, and excited for what they were able to do. And
we'll show you this play, but Karan Williams, his touchdown in the fourth quarter with about 11 and a half minutes left, 37-yard pass, a catch where he slid to get under it, a little ball that might have been a little bit underthrown by Jalen, but a great catch by Karan. We have a great angle over there. We're going to be able to show everybody. 37-yard touchdown pass from Petway, made it 28-3, and that really was all she wrote at that point.
Yeah, I messed with Karan earlier because he happened to drop the pass 2 plays before on a screen that was probably going to get some big yards, but he made up for it on a touchdown. It was a great catch and great concentration. I was proud of Karan to make that play.
And do want to make mention as well, the next drive, East Central gets the ball. That's the last time they touched the ball. They gave the ball back to you. You had almost 8.5 minutes off the clock, and you were able to just salt the clock down and salt it away. Really ran the ball well there to end out that. So I think that's a great thing you like to see as a coach moving forward.
Yeah, we were able to work the 4-minute drill there at the end and be able to take the game all the way down and end up in the victory formation.
And now we turn our attentions to what we know is the regular season finale, but it's not the season finale because as we said in the recap that was released earlier this week, the Wolves have clinched a playoff spot. We know we're in the playoffs. We don't know if we're the 1 or the 2 yet. We've got to watch a couple of games, specifically that Hines and Gulf Coast game to figure out where we're going to be, who we're going to host, if we host, where we're going to go. Those are determined by some games up in the north as well too. But you're going to go this Thursday. You're going to go up to Northeast, the longest trip you've had to have this year, about 4 hours on the road. What are you expecting out of that matchup, and what are you expecting from the Tigers?
I mean, Coach Davis does a great job. I mean, they're 2 drives away from being the top team in the North, and they're a really good well-coached team on both sides of football. They do some stuff on offense that our defense is going to have to prepare for, and they do a lot of things on defense as well. So they're a really good coached football team, and they're going to play really hard.
Might want to moniker this one the Davis Bowl, Coach Davis versus Coach Davis. So, again, a Northeast group that it seems like they're going to be very game for this one, coming off a big win against Itawamba. They're not playing for playoff seeding necessarily, but, they're still playing to finish their season strong. So, hope the Wolves can go over there, get off the bus, and be ready for that tough test. So, Coach, we look forward to talking to you for at least a few more weeks. Like I said, we know we're going to be in the playoffs. We don't know the dates or anything like that. Once we know all that, we'll give it to all of our folks. And, of course, by the time we talk to you next week, we'll know all that information as well, too. So as a reminder, football will be on the road this Thursday at Northeast. We'll give you that streaming information as we have it available. Also, soccer wraps up their regular season. Tuesday, they are hosting Northwest. It'll also be sophomore night for both teams as well, too. Kickoffs at 5:30 and 7:30 there. And then playoffs for soccer this upcoming weekend as well, too. We'll give you that information as it's available to us on all of our social media channels. I'm Kevin Kyzar, Sports Information Coordinator here at Co-Lin. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.